Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I would like to share with you a very fascinating game played between Kevin Wicker and Alain Fayard. This game was played in 1983 at Charlton Chess Open. Now let's see what happened on the board. Wicker started the game with G4. This is Grob's attack. The Grob was first played regularly by Swiss master Henry Grob, who analyzed it extensively and played hundreds of correspondence games with it. By starting the game with G4, White ignores firmly held dogma that one should open the game with a move by a center pawn. Later, White is going to flank his bishop and start putting pressure on Black's queen side. D5 by Fayard and H3. Well, instead of H3, White is usually choosing this tricky bishop G2 move, inviting bishop takes G4, after which is playing C4 and then is bringing the queen on B3 square and is starting putting pressure on Black's queen side. But in the game, Wicker had different ideas, and after D5 he played H3. He is first strengthening the pawn on G4 and only then will flank to his bishop. D3, bishop C5, knight C3, C6. Meanwhile, Black is grabbing the center. Knight F3, F6. Black is strengthening his central pawns. E4, knight D7. E takes D5, C takes D5, D4. White is starting undermining Black's pawn structure in the center, but Black is doing great, no problem at all. D takes E5, F takes E5, bishop B5 check, knight C6, bishop G5, D4, knight D4, bishop C7, queen E2, Black castles king side and White castles queen side. We have opposite side castlings, and this is going to be a very promising sharp game. Bishop E6, bishop takes C6, b takes C6, rook E1, bishop D5, knight D2, after which Fayard captured on F3, freed the D5 square, and now the queen comes into the game. Queen D5 with double attacks. In this position, Kevin Wicker made a mistake and played knight takes E5, but Black didn't manage to use his chance to gain advantage and captured on A2. Instead of playing knight takes E5, actually it was better to go for knight takes D4 and then capture on E7. If rook E8, then queen D2. If queen takes A2, then queen takes D4. Though Black has a slight advantage and there are some problems to solve for White, but this continuation could have been better for White. But instead, after queen D5, we see knight takes E5. As I've already mentioned, Black responded with queen takes A2, but the winning move was knight G6. Now if knight takes G6, then queen takes G5 check, and then queen takes G6, or after knight G6, if F4, then this time knight takes E5, and only then queen takes A2, and White is in trouble. But in the game after knight takes E5, we see queen takes A2. Black is choosing a very tricky line, is sacrificing the knight on E7 in order to start chasing White king. Bishop takes E7, queen A1 check, king D2, bishop A5 check, king D3, and queen takes B2. Now White will also win the rook on F8. We see bishop takes F8, rook takes F8. If we have a look at the position, White is simply a rook up while his king is on D3 square, but actually there is nothing wrong with White's position and Black has no dangerous options to take White king, and actually this is going to be winning. Rook B1, queen C3 check, and king E4. Look at this White king on E4 square, but as I've already mentioned, White is a rook up, guys. There is not much Black can do. Rook E8, now comes F4, queen takes H3, and in this position Kevin Wicker made a move and Fayard resigned. Can you find his next move? Ready? Well, as I've noticed, there is a weakness on this A2 G8 diagonal, but now if you play queen C4 check, then after king H8, the knight on E5 is pinned. You can't go for a smothered mate. That's why after queen takes H3, Wicker went for this devastating rook B8 sacrifice and Black resigned. Now if rook takes b8, then queen c4 check. By the way, first giving a check from c4 square and then playing rook b8 was also playable, but we have a different move order in the game. And now if king h8, then knight f7 check, after which black king will find himself in this mating net, and after this standard queen sacrifice, we will see a smothered mate on the board. Look at this beautiful position. The white king is in the center of the board and we have a smothered black king. But unfortunately, black resigned too early and we didn't manage to enjoy that beauty, as I've already mentioned. After rook b8, Alain Fayard resigned. This was a very interesting game. First, white started his game with this unusual g4 move, went for Grob's attack, and then in the middle game black chose a very tricky line, sacrificed several pieces in order to start a king hunt, but white's defense was impregnable. It was white who, with a very impressive sacrifice, managed to finish up his opponent. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this game. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. I will see you in the next video.